Hey guys, I'm Will. I was accepted to Harvard. I'm here today to talk to you about the essays that got me into Harvard. So personally, I didn't have the best stats or any extracurriculars at all for that matter. So what I think really got me in was my essays. And essays are very, very important because I think stats get you above that bar, but essays are really what bring you home and really show who you are to the admissions officer. I think there are three key things you want to really show through your essays. The first is a way to kind of contextualize your work. And I think this is a really important point because oftentimes, you only have 150 characters to describe all your activities in the Common App. People don't really get to understand what you do and why you do it very, very well. The essays kind of give you space to contextualize the work you do, the reasons why you do extracurriculars, the more context for, what math club or debate means to you. Second, I think essays are very important because it shows who you are as a person. You could have a really, really nice resume and everything, but you could totally be a psychopath, who knows, right? Essays are what really show your humanity and your personality and your likability. And I think that's a really appealing aspect for, admissions officers, because there's a lot of qualified people, but what they really want is someone who would fit in well on campus and provide something nice to the campus and not be like the worst guy, so that's an important thing you want to kind of get across in your essays as well. And third and finally, essays allow you to distinguish yourself past just being, a math kid who got, 600 in the SAT, especially for the people who are borderline, people who didn't cure cancer or whatever. There's a lot of people who are like you, and what makes you stand out from the crowd, from very qualified applicants, almost equally qualified applicants, is those essays. Think about this. Admissions officers are sifting through thousands of applications, every single day. They're only spending minutes and seconds on each application, and what you want to be is at the end of a long day of sifting through all these applications, you want the admissions officer to go to bed thinking about your essay and not anyone else's. So with that, that's my general advice. Let's get to reading my essays. So this first essay is my Common App essay. Mom, get out of the room, I'm filming something. So the prompt is recount a time. Mom, I swear to God. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you, and what did you learn from that experience? So here's my essay. I felt the waves washing through my toes, and the smell of the ocean crash over me, like a Stereocolus elephant seal. How I long for the ocean. But what's more, I long for the creatures who live beneath the sand. My mom always said, Billiam, in your past life, you must have been an oyster catcher. I brush away her hair. I brush away her hair and lean in for a kiss. Every time we go to the beach, my family tans on the shore, but I dive right into the water. I'm hunting for mollusks. Majestic like a decollated oyster catcher, I strut on the beach, rear up high, head tunneled under the sand. Slurp, slurp. I keep my cerebellum beneath the waves for as long as my gills allow, searching for my prey. Oh, how I could praise Bob Serdech, god of the hunt right now. I love to catch crabs with my teeth, to feel the life leave their fragile bodies as my jaws clamp shut. I feel their pain, like one of my past lives I was executed by death by 1,000 cuts, or had my heart broken, charging down Normandy Beach. I feel the souls of my ancestors penetrate my entire body. Oh, the euphoria. It's only now that the demonic spirit of the oyster catcher overtakes me. I'm yours, Zignadot. I was also on the IMO team, went to RSI, and won ISEF as a freshman. The world calls me by many names. William Lee, Little Dishwasher, Beyonce. But they don't even know my real name. My real identity. Zintablexo. Yeah, so that was my essay. I think, yes, I know, it's a little cheesy. I think that the topics and themes that are explored about identity have been done before, and it's a little cheesy in that regard. There's essays like this out there. But I think it gets the message across. It gets the task it needs to get done, which is what I really like about this essay. And despite the kind of the central message being a little cliche, I think I do it in an interesting way that hasn't been done before. So first of all, I think this is a general nice way to start off an essay as I open up on action. It's kind of in media res where I kind of open up on the beach itself. The beach obviously being a motif for a lot of different traumatic things. Beyond that, I think that kind of just gives it an interesting opening where I'm not opening on something boring, I'm opening something active. So the admissions officer is kind of almost right in the story with me. I also think that I also do the mood really well, where I kind of have metaphors like the elephant seal and, death by a thousand cuts that kind of set the tone for the passage when they're reading it. Beyond that, the dialogue is really wonderful, and the onomatopoeia from the slurp noises, I think, really add just layers to the experience of reading through this essay. Also, I think it just kind of gets to the point. There's no humor involved. It's just something that's very, very important to me, and I kind of explain it in a way that's passionate, but also very serious, and gives it to the gravitas that it deserves. So my next essay is describe how you spent the last 2 summers. Summer is a time of learning. As one of the 12 students selected specifically for math summer school, I learned about the universe of mathematics, its beauty and intricacies. Working with Professor Oak to research dynamic maps, I discovered my passion for necromancy. But above all else, my summers taught me love. Her name is Domenico. I missed the feel of her lips, the feeling of her eyeballs against mine. Her thyroid gland pulsed when we touched. The ratio between her ulna and radius was mathematically perfect. Nothing could get in the way of our love. Race, herpes, age. Sometimes I smell her toenails. I won't tell if you won't. I collected them every time we created suction between her slimy lips and breathed life into our loving alveoli. I tasted her throat, and she tasted my pancreas. Why did she leave me? Yeah, so I think this essay, when they're asking about the summers, more so than any other essay, they want it to be kind of more activity-focused, which is why my essay kind of focused on the extracurriculars they do. So I think my last essay, whereas it was kind of more focused on personality, who I am as a person, how I developed that as a person, the challenges I overcame, and how that comes to shaping who I am, identity-wise, I think this essay wasn't nearly as personal. It's almost entirely academic. So the vibe I want to kind of go for is, I don't know if you've seen the movie Beautiful Minds, but in that movie, I think the protagonist, Skywalker or something, is kind of immersed in this world of mathematics. He's like writing math on the window, and kind of just really being immersed in thinking about mathematics in a way that is totally different from any other person on Earth, and kind of that visual display of his passion. That's the kind of the vibe I wanted to get across, to kind of feel like I was too immersed in this world of mathematics. And this is what I was going to talk about before, where when you're talking about academic subjects, you only have so much space on the Common App to list out what you do. You don't really have the space to tell why you do it, what makes you passionate about the things you do. And this is kind of the space where I really talked about my passion for the different academic activities that I did. And it's a little bit listy, I kind of go through the different activities I do and why I do them. But at the end of the day, it gives the context it needs for the activities that I do. So this last essay is the Why Harvard essay, so pretty standard. New York City, the city of love, founded in 1776 by Benjamin Franklin himself. New York City has always been the soul of the West Coast. Walking along Pennsylvania Avenue, the energy flowing out of the strip clubs and erotic bookstores is palpable, the energy of the American spirit. I hope to keep that same spirit as I explore Harvard's academics. It's the city where my father died, the city where my daughter was born, the city of lights. This is all before the Japanese attack, of course. Do your privates ever hurt when it rains? I want to go to Harvard because I love the New York City lifestyle. While I was initially scared of the alligators in the sewers, I now await my scaly friends with excitement. Rest in peace, Domenico. So what college is really looking for in why essays is A, how you would fit in on campus. Just how the amenities that Harvard or whatever university provides kind of fit in with who you are, both academically and personally. Additionally, what they want out of the YSA is an indication that you would choose Harvard, that if you applied to metro schools, you would ultimately end up selecting Harvard out of all of them or whatever school. So those are the two things you kind of really want to focus on this essay. I think what is really a big pitfall for people when they do YSAs is they tend to copy and paste similar themes over, which is fine. However, what you really want to get across through modification is the fact that this essay could only have been written about the university you're applying to. You don't want to say I want to go to Harvard or Columbia or Baylor or whatever for their academics or for their Greek life or whatever. You want to be as specific as possible in a way where the admissions officer reading the essay is hey, the qualities that they describe in this essay are qualities that are unique to my college or to my university. So that's something that I did in this essay, mentioning specific courses, specific professors, specific aspects that are so ingrained in their, campus culture that can't be replicated at other universities. I think what I do uniquely well in this essay is I break free of that very cookie cutter, Y essay shape. It's very different from a lot of the other Y essays. Instead of focusing on a lot of the academic strengths that people tend to focus on for Harvard, I focus instead on the kind of the culture, the atmosphere, the ambiance around New York City, and it's so kind of iconic when you're talking about Harvard. At the same time, despite it being kind of almost a little bit of a cliche topic, I think I do it well. In this essay, I really bare my soul out to the admissions officer, which is kind of unusual for a Y essay because most Y essays are just kind of very, straight to the point. I think this modification to really be personal and let my soul be seen makes this Y essay stand out more than the other Y essays and kind of convinces the admissions officers that, like, hey, this is a school I really want to go to. Yeah, so last bits of advice, I'd say, as a whole, remember that this is what you're trying to show to the admissions officer. More than, just flexing about things, what you want to come across through your personal essays is your personality. You want to seem like someone who will fit in at the school that you're applying to, not just intellectually, but also personally. To be just a great person to have around on campus, to be a fun person to hang around. And that's something that is really important that you need to get across in your personal essay. Beyond that, in terms of logistics, I think spend time on these. I know a lot of kids who kind of grind these out in the 2 to 3 days before they apply to school. I wouldn't recommend that. I did all my apps over the summer, which kind of gave me time to really refine and hone these, and also have a less stressful senior year as well. There are kids who kind of hedge on getting into colleges early, end up not getting in, and then they write like 20 essays over winter break, which isn't a fun time. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. And beyond that, good luck. Again, remember, colleges are very, very random. The system is very, very hard. And don't let the results define who you are. Best.